Sitting in the airport lounge in her faded floral dress, she looked like she had wandered through the wrong door. Nicole Miller clutched her fabric handbag on her lap while the suited business travelers around her closed off like clamshells. To them, this woman was clearly here by mistake. Blonde but unkempt, young but worn down, what was she doing in this upscale lounge? But hours later, when the plane crashed and passengers faced death, Nicole quietly stood up and spoke the words that would change their lives. Combat field medic. Are there casualties? And in that moment, the terrible truth emerged. Angel of mercy. The war medic the military had reported missing 2 years ago was here, alive. The midday flight cruised at 25,000 feet from New York to Los Angeles. The Airbus A320's business class section filled with the sounds of opening leather briefcases and expensive perfumes. In the front seat, an investment advisor was reviewing fuel prices, taking notes. Nicole huddled by the window seat, faded floral dress, worn ballet flats, her hair in a messy blonde ponytail. Her face was pale with dark circles under her eyes, as if she hadn't slept in days. She looked like she had accidentally fallen here from another world, and everyone could sense it. The stares were sharp, distant. This woman was disrupting the perfect atmosphere they had created. In 14A, 9-year-old Sophie was sticking stickers from her pink bag onto her laptop. Her mother, Marianne, watched her daughter with impatience, her neat bob haircut and crystal earrings catching the light. When Sophie's chocolate wrapper fell to the floor, Marianne's face tensed. "Sophie, be careful." She quickly bent down to collect the packages near Nicole's feet while apologizing, but her tone wasn't sincere, as if she wanted to close this situation as quickly as possible. Across the aisle, blue-suited businessman Andreas Weber was reviewing meeting notes with his young assistant Clara. "She doesn't fit the business class standard," he said in a low but audible voice. Clara smiled while turning her silver bracelet. Maybe she accumulated points to get here. No way she could afford it with cash. Nicole showed no reaction. She pulled her bag to her lap, her fingers stroking the old fabric as she turned toward the window. Her eyes were half closed, her breathing steady, as if these words never reached her ears. But there was tension in how she gripped her bag's zipper, a momentary tightening. Young flight attendant Patricia passed by with a polite smile, glancing at Nicole's clothes. She frowned. Her thoughts were very clear. This woman wasn't from this level, not from this comfort class, not from this prestigious space. Marianne looked at Sophie, then at Nicole, her voice soft but piercing. "It's okay, sweetie. The lady is just resting." Sophie paused with her sticker and whispered, "Why does she look so tired?" Marianne hushed her, but the question hung in the air, heavy and unanswered. 2 rows back, a woman in a navy blazer was reviewing reports on her tablet. She turned to her jewelry designer friend. "Definitely a charity ticket. Must have won it on social media." Her friend smirked while adjusting her thin gold chain. "Look at those shoes. Like she came from hospital corridors." Muffled laughter spread, breaking the cabin's quiet atmosphere. Nicole's hand wandered in her bag, touching a hard object in the small side pocket, a metal pin. It was nearly invisible unless you looked closely. She shifted slightly, leaning her shoulder against the window, hiding her face behind her hair. The cabin lights began to dim. Passengers returned to their routines, unaware of what that pin meant, what duties it symbolized. The cabin settled into its soft rhythm. Air conditioning hum, magazine page turns, phone vibrations. Red-dressed Petra Hoffman, famous fashion blogger, was writing articles on her laptop 3 rows ahead. She chatted with technology entrepreneur Marcus Klein beside her, his expensive silver watch glinting under the lights. "Wrong section, definitely," Petra whispered sharply. "Look at that dress." Marcus swirled his champagne glass. "Someone should warn her." "This isn't economy." His tone dripped with disdain. A few more passengers heard and turned their heads toward Nicole, thin, cruel smiles on their lips. Nicole seemed frozen, her hair fallen across her face, her eyes locked on the dark window, the cabin's reflection playing on her skin. To them, she was nothing, a shadow, insignificant, not knowing her place. Sophie continued watching Nicole, clutching her stickers. She whispered in Marianne's ear, She looks sad, Mom. Is she sick? Marianne forced a smile while holding her daughter's hand, but her eyes were on Nicole, a mixture of curiosity and discomfort. Nicole's hand went to her bag again, caressing the metal pin. Her lips compressed for a second, then relaxed. The plane continued humming, passengers in their own worlds, unaware of the weight Nicole silently carried. Across the aisle, legal consultant Diana Keller, in her custom-tailored suit, adjusted her glasses and whispered to her secretary, "Must be a free ticket winner." Her secretary nodded while hiding her smile. The wave of judgment spread like a tide, each passenger adding their own small poison, weaving a web around Nicole. Welcome to Hidden Legends. If this story touches you, if you've experienced those stares, heard those whispers, been looked down upon because of your appearance, do this. Take your phone, hit the like button, write a comment, and subscribe. Sharing these moments with you, being together in pain and strength is so important. Let's continue. The plane entered mild turbulence, rattling glasses and shaking a few service trays. Passengers sank into their seats with worry, but it passed. The cabin returned to normal. Andreas Weber returned to his notes, complaining about delayed emails. Petra Hoffmann took photos, capturing the cabin's luxury in the background. In the back, Congressman Heinrich Schmidt sipped his cognac while surveying the area. Nicole remained motionless, her hair disheveled, her breathing steady. Sophie hummed softly while drawing birds flying in the sky. Nicole's hand rested on the armrest, her fingers tapping very lightly, as if following a rhythm only she knew, regular, practiced, like a medical checklist. A bronze-skinned woman in a cream jacket leaned toward Andreas Weber. "One of those mixed-ticket passengers, maybe?" Her voice loud enough for several to laugh. Andreas grinned and closed his laptop. "Definitely. Look at that bag, you'd find better ones at a flea market." Giggles spread. Approval came from nearby seats. Nicole's fingers stopped. She bent down and pulled her bag toward herself in a slow, deliberate movement. A small keychain hung from the zipper. A quarter-sized metal cross figure glinted softly in the cabin light. She hid it from view, face hidden in hair, but shoulders tensed noticeably. The cream-jacketed woman didn't see her. She was focused on her phone, reviewing vacation poses, unaware of her words' impact. The plane's engine strengthened for a moment, vibration passed, then calmed. A woman wearing a silk scarf, with intense perfume, turned to her pampered husband. "I don't understand why they let these types into business class," her voice sharp as breaking glass. "It ruins the entire experience." Her husband nodded while adjusting his cufflinks. "Quality is declining these days," he muttered. Nicole's hand rested on her bag, at the zipper, where a small tear gave a glimpse inside, the edge of an old yellowed photograph. She closed it, movements decisive, leaned back, eyes on the window. The cabin lights reflected her face, expression calm but jaw tense, as if suppressing an inner storm. Passengers didn't notice, their voices the constant hum of prejudices hitting the weight Nicole silently carried. Then the speaker crackled, sharp emergency tone. "Dear passengers, this is your captain speaking. We need urgent medical assistance. Is there a doctor or paramedic on board?" The words cut through the cabin like a knife. No one moved for a second. Then, chaos erupted. People turned in their seats, voices rose in frantic confusion. Andreas Weber closed his laptop, face pale. "What does this mean?" he muttered. Petra Hoffmann dropped her phone, hand trembling. "This can't be real," she whispered. Heinrich Schmidt set down his glass, jaw tight but silent. Marianne pulled Sophie close, voice trembling. "It's okay, honey. Everything's fine." Her eyes were wide, scanning the cabin. Patricia ran to the aisle, face drained of color. "Is there a doctor or medical personnel?" she shouted, voice cracking with panic. "Please help." No one stood up. The air thickened. The cabin narrowed with the weight of fear. In 14B, Nicole stirred. Her eyes opened, slow and determined, as if she had been waiting for this moment. She straightened, fixing her hair as she opened her bag's zipper and took out a small old photograph. She put it in her pocket, fingers touching the metal cross. Then she stood up, ballet shoe sounds disappearing in the carpet. Andreas Weber saw her and made a disgusted face. "Don't tell me this girl's going to help," his voice loud enough to be heard. Petra Hoffman let out a sharp laugh, lipstick smeared from nerves. That girl probably can't even help the seriously ill. Marcus Klein leaned forward, his watch glinting. Don't make things worse, girl, his tone condescending. This isn't a joke. Sophie grabbed her mother's arm, voice tiny. Why are they being mean to her? Marianne didn't answer, eyes on Nicole, gaze mixed with doubt. A polo-shirted man with a wine-flushed face stood up and blocked Nicole's path. Sit down, kid, his voice slightly slurred. Don't put everyone in a difficult situation. The passengers around him agreed, murmurs rising, a chorus of disbelief and mockery. Nicole stopped, her eyes meeting his for a moment. She didn't speak, but her gaze was steady, unbending, as if she could see his soul. The man stumbled, stepped back, his words dissolving under the silence. Nicole passed him, steps measured, bag on shoulder. Patricia hesitated, eyes moving from shoes to dress. Ma'am, please, we're looking for a specialist, voice tense. 3 rows back, Diana Keller intervened, glasses glinting. She slept the entire flight. Now she's trying to be a hero. Laughter followed, cruel and biting, wave-like across the seats. Nicole didn't look at them. She moved forward down the aisle, shoulders straight, face unreadable. Combat field medic. Where are the casualties? The words hit the cabin like a shockwave. Laughter died, replaced by frozen silence. Andreas Weber's jaw dropped, drink forgotten on his lips. Petra Hoffman blinked, phone abandoned in her lap. Combat field, someone whispered. What does that mean? An elderly woman from the back, Stefan, a retired soldier with a faded medal on his jacket, jumped to his feet. That means Army field medic, his voice trembled with respect. Only the best work there. Patricia looked at Nicole, mouth open, then quickly nodded. This way, pointing toward the sick passenger. The crowd parted, some reluctant, others frozen in shock. Diana Keller muttered, "This is madness." But her voice was now low, less certain. Nicole passed them, steps determined, bag on shoulder. A woman in a custom-tailored dress, hair pulled back, whispered to her companion, "She's lying. Someone like her working in a combat zone is impossible." Her companion nodded, but his eyes followed Nicole, doubt creeping into his gaze. Nicole's shoes moved silently down the corridor, but her presence had filled the cabin, changed the air. Sophie watched her leave, clutching her stickers, something like hope growing in her eyes. Marianne pulled her close, but her own hands were trembling, her earlier contempt turning to quiet worry. The sick passenger was in 8C, elderly man Robert Steinberg, clutching his chest, unable to breathe, face pale and sweaty, lips turning blue. The passengers beside him were in panic, no one knowing what to do. Nicole changed as she approached. Her posture straightened, movements became decisive. She knelt beside the old man, fingers going to the pulse in his neck. Pulse weak but regular, she murmured to herself. Chest pain and shortness of breath. Patricia stood beside her, face worried. What can we do? Will we land soon? Nicole didn't answer. She opened her bag, taking out a small first aid kit. But this wasn't an ordinary kit. It contained professional equipment, stethoscope, blood pressure monitor, emergency medications. Where did this come from? Patricia asked in amazement. I always carry it with me, Nicole quietly replied. She placed the stethoscope on the man's chest, listening. Heart rhythm irregular. Probably heart attack. Passengers began gathering around them, eyes on Nicole. Andreas Weber approached. Are you really a paramedic? Voice full of doubt. Nicole positioned the man more comfortably. 3 years in Afghanistan, 2 in Iraq. Her voice was calm but had steel in it. This is pretty basic. Robert Steinberg opened his eyes, vision blurry. Am I dying? Nicole placed her hand on the man's forehead. No, sir. I'm here. We're going to get you home. Her hands didn't shake as she attached the blood pressure cuff, movements measured. Result 180/110, dangerously high. She took a small pill from her bag. This is a blood pressure reducer. Put it under your tongue. The plane suddenly shook. Turbulence began, cabin items scattered. Passengers clung to their seats screaming. But Nicole didn't move. She held the old man, speaking in a calming voice. This is normal, she told Robert. Routine for aircraft. Just breathe. The turbulence intensified. Cabin lights flickered, overhead bins opened. Oxygen masks dropped. Panic screams rose. Then came the terrifying sound. Engine noise cut out, one, then the other. The plane began to fall. "Oh God!" Patricia screamed. "We're going to crash!" Nicole didn't take her eyes off Robert. "Listen to me, sir. Nothing will happen to you. I'm here." The plane shook violently, rapidly descending. Passengers screamed while following seatbelt instructions. Cabin lights went out. Emergency lights flashed on and off. Nicole took a flashlight from her bag. How had she been prepared for such a situation? She checked the man's pulse. "Heart rate stabilizing," she told herself. "Brace position," the captain shouted over the intercom. Everyone bent forward, hands behind their heads. Nicole positioned Robert protectively, using her own body as a shield. Impact came, groaning metal sounds, breaking glass. The plane hit the ground and slid, then stopped. Smoke filled the cabin. Silence. Then moaning began. Nicole straightened, turned on her flashlight. Robert was still breathing. He had survived, but others. "Is everyone okay?" Nicole shouted. The authority in her voice calmed everyone. Patricia's head was bleeding, but she was standing. "I'm here," she replied. Andreas Weber was trapped in his seat, blood flowing from his leg. "Help me!" he cried. Nicole went to him. She took bandages from her bag, cleaned the wound. Thigh injury, artery undamaged. She bandaged it professionally. Petra Hoffman was unconscious. Her head had hit the panel. Nicole checked her pulse. Possible concussion, but alive. She checked each passenger one by one. Some had scratches, some were in shock, but most were fine. Sophie was crying, Marianne trying to calm her. Nicole approached them. "Hello, Sophie. I'm Nicole. I'm going to protect you, okay?" The little girl nodded. Nicole gave her a small teddy bear. No one knew why she had it in her bag. Diana Keller watched in amazement. Were you really in the military?" Nicole answered while bandaging wounds. "Afghanistan 2018 to 2021. Iraq 2021 to 2022. 47th Mobile Surgical Hospital." "Angel of Mercy," said Stefan, the retired soldier. "I heard about you. You were the best field medic." Nicole's hands stopped. Hearing that name hurt. "Why did you quit?" Andreas asked while his leg was being bandaged. Nicole took the photograph from her pocket. 3 young soldiers smiling, 2 men, 1 woman, Nicole in the middle, Jake Martinez on the right, Tommy Williams on the left. "For them," she said quietly. "What happened to them?" "IED exploded, hit our convoy." Her voice choked. "Jake died instantly. I could have saved Tommy, but I had to choose. There were 5 wounded. If I chose Tommy, the others would die." The cabin was silent. Everyone was listening. "Tommy died too," Nicole continued. "That night I resigned from the army. I swore never to have to choose between people again." Rescue teams arrived 2 hours later. Helicopter sounds, wailing sirens. When paramedics entered the cabin, they were surprised. The wounded were organized, treated, calmed. "Who did this work?" the team leader asked. All passengers pointed to Nicole. "I'm Paramedic Johnson," the team leader said. "Who are you?" "Nicole Miller, former Army medic." Johnson's eyes widened. "Angel of Mercy, is that you?" Nicole nodded. "You're a legend," Johnson said respectfully. "We read your stories." "Why did you quit?" Nicole looked at the wounded passengers. All were healing, all were safe. "Because here I have enough time for everyone." Andreas Weber's hand touched Nicole's arm. "I owe you an apology," he said. "We judged you." "We all did," Marianne said. "Sophie was right. You're a good person." Nicole smiled. For the first time in 2 years, she genuinely smiled. A week later, Sophie visited Nicole at her home with her mother. She was wearing a new floral dress, just like Nicole's. "Angel Nicole," the little girl said. "When I grow up, I want to be like you." Nicole hugged her. "You're already perfect, Sophie." Marianne stood beside them. "Nicole, I have an offer for you. The city hospital emergency department is hiring, if you want." Nicole looked out the window. It was a sunny day. Children were playing in the park. She took the photograph from her pocket. Jake and Tommy were smiling. "Can you forgive me?" she whispered to them. The wind shook the window, as if saying, "Yes." "I accept," she told Marianne. That day, Nicole Miller became Angel of Mercy again. but this time as someone who never had to choose between people. Where are you watching from? Leave a comment and walk with me on this journey of prejudice, loss, and finally forgiveness.